Gosh, it's so appreciated. It's so
Hello,
appreciated.
everybody.
Good
Welcome to
afternoon.
the Notary Business. Oh, sorry, God, I don't even know where I am today. Where am I? Welcome to Tuesday Notary.
Oh
This
my
is what
gosh.
happens. This is what happens when you have one day off on a Monday, right? You just completely lose it at the top of the call. My name's Jen Neitzel. I am your co-host for today, and I am joined today by the one and only GOAT herself, Laura Biewer. You say hi, everybody.
Hello.
Is that your goat that you
That's my
found?
little goat. Can you guys see that? See my little goat? And he came from Montana.
When we go souvenir shopping anywhere we're traveling together, goats are always on the agenda to look for. So we are here today also with Matt Miller, who doesn't know it yet, but he's also been made co-host to help us on this call today. So we are all just kind of catching up, getting back from Labor Day. I hope your Labor Day weekend was wonderful, fabulous, and all the good things. If you're able to turn your camera on, guys, we would love to see your faces. It helps us to get to know you a little better. Thanks, Kevin, for turning your camera on. All right, guys, you know how this call works. It's kind of like an old-fashioned radio call-in show. Laura, Matt, and I are here to answer any of your notary-related questions. All you have to do is raise your digital hand, and you'll find that at the bottom of your Zoom screen. So while you guys are getting your hands raised and getting in line to ask your notary related questions, we're going to go over just a couple of announcements. Now, usually on this call, we have our fabulous co-host, Ms. Jen Cooper, with us. She was unable to join us today, but her product is one that we are talking about, all this month, and that is her blog course. Why is this important? If you have a website, you've got to do some behind the scenes work, right? To get your SEO dialed in. And a great way to do that is with a blog. So I want to give you guys this link so you can, I'm trying to do two things at once, talk and open my chat. If you want to check out this amazing course to help you, there we go, as you are building your website and your presence, I just put the information to her course in the chat. I highly encourage you guys to go check that out. Jen is part of a great program that we've implemented called the Notary Business Builder Spotlight Innovator. And what we're doing is taking product ideas from notaries that are notary business builders, and we are helping them promote that portion of their business. There's so much more to us, to each of us, than just being notaries. And we want to help highlight the people out there doing the good things, whether it's notary related or not. So if you are interested in becoming part of the Innovator Spotlight, I'm going to put this in the chat for you to check out, and go check out all the products that are listed there so far. All right, guys, we need your hands up for some questions. I am going to kick us off, though, with a question that came in through our TNT link. Let me just open this up here. Bear with me. Sorry, Laura. These are kind of a little out of order.
Oh,
So I'm going to start with this one.
all right.
Have you ever had this happen? I was asked to sign an affidavit delivery of deed before grantor's death by notary by an attorney for a family that I did an estate plan signing for. The package included a life estate deed. The grantor, a lovely woman, unfortunately passed away before she was able to get the deed recorded. Her attorney contacted me to request that I sign the form listed above, the delivery of deed before grantor's death. The form stated that I'm a licensed notary public in the state of Florida And basically that I notarized the deed with her, the grantor, in my presence, and that the deed was accepted by the grantee upon execution. I signed it because the way that the attorney explained it is they needed this form to submit with the deed because the signer did not have the deed recorded before her passing. And I guess they were trying to get it done at that same time that he contacted me. Was this the right thing to do?
So believe it or not, yes, I have had that happen. The attorney didn't provide me, and actually it was the title company. They didn't realize that it hadn't been recorded. The lady had died sometime after me and before they sold the house. They go to sell the house uh, does not have that transfer. It was a transfer upon death deed to the kids. And so the title company that they were working with asked if I would write my own affidavit that stated basically I am a valid notary public, that I met with that signer on this particular day, blah, 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 all the details, where I met her, which happened to be at Kaiser, and what room she was in, that she was alert and aware at the time of the signing. And then I had my signature notarized by another notary and submitted it, and that allowed them to clear the cloud that was sitting on that title. And they were able to move forward with the sale. So there's nothing wrong as long as those statements that are being made are truthful, because you're going to swear to that statement that everything you put in there is the truth. I also included a photocopy of my journal entry that supported that particular notarization, that had all my notes on it. Never heard from them again. So I'm assuming everything was great. So these things can happen when people, they get something done and then they say, oh, how are they getting it to the county recorder's office, or they just forget to do that step, which happens when the attorney doesn't do it. When the attorney says, go find your own notary and go do your own thing. That's when this kind of stuff falls through the cracks.
Yeah. But I thought it was an important question because it does seem so strange and different. But I think it is, like you said, kind of a one-off, special circumstance situation, obviously. Well, while we are waiting for everyone to raise their hands, you guys, we need you to ask those questions for us. Raise your digital hands. You will find it at the bottom. The digital raise hand feature is at the bottom of your Zoom screen. I want to read another question for Laura. You receive a last minute, same day signing. You download the docs as they are immediately available. The signing goes well. You upload the scans and drop the package. A few days later, you get a call from the title company stating that 2 particular documents are missing. The title rep states that someone from the closing team stated that they called the notary to tell them that the additional docs were uploaded, and the notary told them that they would take care of it. You look back at your call log from that day and realize there was no call. You check your emails and find that the 2 missing docs were uploaded after the initial unsigned loan package was downloaded approximately an hour later. This occurred after you had already downloaded the main package, so you were with the borrower by then. How do you handle this situation without playing the blame game?
Well, I don't play the blame game. I make it right. So however that happened, I'm going to download it, go meet with that lady, take care of those other 2 documents, recognizing there'll be a different date than the rest of the package, and then scan it back over to them so that they've got a complete package. I would let them know that you do see that the documents came an hour after the initial package, and you were already with the borrower, so you were not aware of any missing documents. However, the client is what's important at this point, and you have gone out and taken care of it. To me, and I would not necessarily ask for more money for a second trip. However, I would certainly not accept reduction in pay. for not
Yeah,
having, the complete
absolutely.
package to deal with. And some of the reasoning with that has to do with, an ongoing business relationship with whoever that title or signing service is. Um, there are going to be times when I make mistakes, and there's going to be times when they make mistakes. It's not like I'm perfect, and I've never made a mistake where might have missed a stamp or missed a document. So I give a little grace that this time it was on their side of the fence. Next time it could be mine. And I hope somebody would give me grace for that. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah, and I think too that we automatically, I guess this is kind of human nature, we sort
Mhm.
of automatically go, well, that's not my fault. I didn't do anything wrong,
Right.
and we start going through call logs and email lists and timestamps and when did I get this and when did I get this? Believe me, I do too. I do it too when that kind of stuff pops up. And then I catch myself and it's kind of like, oh, wait, it doesn't matter. Customer service
Is what
is what
matters.
matters. Customer service, good customer service is going to make you stand out. And if somebody was, say, in that title office trying to cover their tracks by saying they called you instead of sending an email or something like that, they're going to remember that if you don't come back at them saying, oh, it was so and so's fault, they didn't really call, you're creating waves where you don't need to create them when you make it into a bigger deal like that. Putting the customers first is always going to help you stand out from the sea of sameness with notaries across the country, right?
Yeah, and I think
um,
there's a question in the chat that says, would I incur any additional cost to ship? I would ask for a shipping label. I'd say, hey, let me take care of this right away. I'll run out, I'll get it. Could you send me a shipping label for this? And then
yeah,
they
absolutely.
put in a little, I put in a little, together, we've made it happen.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. And that was a great question
Yeah.
in the chat. But let's get to Ramona Kelly in Orlando, Florida. She's got a question for us. Hey, Ramona.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Good to see you guys. I wasn't on last week, so I was happy to make it today. But I have a BOI question. That beneficiary form, the one
Mhm.
we have to do by January.
The
The,
the Transparency Act. Yes.
okay.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. Okay, so I am an LLC, so I know I have to do the form.
Yes.
But there's a couple of notaries here in Orlando who are sole proprietors, and they're confused of whether they should do the form or not. So this morning we were looking on the fincin.gov, that IRS site,
Hmm.
and it mentioned, let me look at the chart. It has the yes or no chart on there. And it says, was the company created by filing a document with a Secretary of State or
Right.
similar office? So if you are registered with the Secretary of State, like ours is called Sunbiz here in Florida, does that mean you need to fill out that form? Do it?
Yeah, if
The
you
benefit?
registered with Secretary of State, regardless of how you did it, meaning sole proprietor, LLC, S corp, whatever it is, if you registered with Secretary of State, those are the people they want to fill out this form. If you're a sole proprietor and you never registered anything with Secretary of State, then you're not on their radar and you wouldn't have to do it. And many sole proprietors don't do anything at the state level. They do something at the county level, like if they get a DBA, right? And that's at the county level. Now they could go to state level and they could do that, but if they haven't, well, then they're too low on the totem pole. They're after everybody who's registered at state level in some way
Okay.
or another.
Okay, great.
And it
That
doesn't,
explains.
and just so you know, it doesn't hurt if you weren't required and you did it,
Yeah.
right? It's not gonna hurt anybody and they're gonna come after you because you filled out a form when you didn't need to fill out the form. So just
Okay.
know that as well.
Okay. Yeah, being hit with that $500 a day make you sit up and pay attention.
Right.
Incentive, yeah, there's some incentive there.
And
Okay.
it literally, Ramona, it takes 5 minutes. So
Yeah,
that's
it
the
was
best part
quick.
about it. It's easy peasy. Thanks for that question. And it's
Thank
a good
you.
reminder. because this has to be completed, you guys. Your Corporate Transparency Act needs to be completed by January 1st of 2025. That's when they start incurring daily fines if they catch you not having filed. So make sure you are getting your Corporate Transparency Act filed, and get that done so you are in compliance. All right, guys.
Jen, before we move on,
Yeah.
there's a comment in the chat that if you obtained a federal EIN, well, that's a federal EIN. I don't know if that also would trigger the need for this, but I am not the Secretary of State. I am not the federal government, so that's kind of beyond the scope of what I would know.
Yeah. Thank you for clarifying that. So I want to bring up Matt Miller, who has a roundtable discussion happening this Thursday. Wait, is it Thursday? What day is it today? Yes, Tuesday and Thursday. And he has a really very special guest that he would love for you guys to to come and meet on his CLIN roundtable. Matt, I'm going to put the information in the chat, but will you tell us about your special guest?
Absolutely. So every month, the CLIN, or most months, we hold a free monthly Zoom roundtable on the first Thursday of the month. September's will be this Thursday, the 5th at 5 p.m. Pacific time. It's free to sign up. If you've already signed up, don't worry about signing up again. You'll get a reminder notice the day of. But we're going to talk about a couple of new laws that have been passed in recent months. And we're going to have our special guest, our very own Jen Neitzel from Marketing for Notaries. And she's going to talk about how to market your notary business for success. So this is definitely a roundtable you don't want to miss, especially if you want to ask her some questions live. So I look forward to everyone stopping by Thursday afternoon. Jen has put the sign up link in the chat. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me directly.
Awesome. I love what you're doing. And of course, I was teasing about the very special guest because it's me. And I'm really
Are a very
excited
special
to hang out.
guest.
I'm excited to hang out, talk about marketing. California League of Independent Notaries, I want to make this clear, is not just for notaries in California. Matt talks about notarial law changes that are happening all over the country. He is really, in fact, I was telling him a couple weeks ago, Matt's talent, in my opinion, is taking something like legislation, which I find very difficult and boring to read, and he makes it fun and engaging, and he makes it to where you understand, oh, this is why I need to be involved in this. This is why it's important to have someone in that position to keep you abreast of what's going on. So if you've never been to a California League of Independent Notaries roundtable, please come hang out with us on Thursday evening at 5 p.m. Central. And if you are a new notary on this call and you are wondering about what you should do to market yourself, I just so happen to have a whole framework for you. And that is what we're going to be talking about on Thursday. But I did put a link in the chat if you guys want to check it out now. And nobody knows this except for the people on my broadcast channel. But you might just want to go check out Marketing for Notaries today. And you might just want to stumble over to the marketingfornotaries.com/shop. And you just might find some really cool branded and embroidered stuff that you might be interested in if you're a certified notary trust delivery agent. Haven't announced it yet. You guys are the first. You can go check it out. I'll put it in the, I can't type and do two things at once here. It doesn't look super sexy yet, but I'll get that together soon. So, all right. And FYI, that's the only place at marketingfornotaries.com/shop that you can get authorized branded materials for your certification as a trust delivery agent. There's more stuff coming. All right, guys, who's got some questions for us? What do you think, Laura?
Quiet. I don't see any hands, but were there any left from our write-ins? If not, I have something I'll talk about.
Why don't you go ahead and talk about that? Because I have to kind of search through these
So
responses.
let me bring up something that a notary brought to my attention. And so I discussed it on my Saturday call, and I think it's important enough to repeat it on this call. And it's for somebody who does trust work. So I bet I have a bunch of people, I have 5 pages here. Could you just drop a 1 in the chat if you do living trust work as part of your repertoire of stuff that you do? Certified or not, but you do trust work. Okay, beautiful. So there's quite a few of you. So I think this is going to apply to many of you. I want to draw a distinction between loan signing work and trust work. In loan signing work, and thank you for all those 1s, so I know who you are. In loan signing work, there are people who handle the documents after you. Could be the signing service, could be the title company, could be an attorney, but there are people who are separating documents and looking at documents, and of course the county recorder when it gets to the end for recordables. So there's a bunch of people who see your work, and there's a high likelihood somebody along the way is going to see a mistake if it happened, right? And you're going to get notified about it pretty soon, so that you can remedy it. Trust signing isn't quite the same. Many times when we're done notarizing a trust assignment, the book goes on their shelf, to which they never look at again until someday, 5, 10, 15 years in the future, when they now need to use a document. The problem with that is that if we've made a mistake or an oversight, nobody is seeing it and nobody's telling us about it until 10 or 15 years later, when we may not be able to make it right anymore because the person involved may now be incapacitated or dead. So this notary who brought to my attention, she got a call. She was not the original notary, but the original notary handled a trust assignment in 2012. Guys, we're in 24, so 12 years ago. And after this couple happened to be watching some, I don't know, YouTube, something about notarization, thought, hey, we should look at our trust book. So they pull it open. Here it's 12 years. They haven't looked at it. And they see there's the certification of trust is not filled out for the notary section, nor is it stamped. It is completely missed. So the question is, what can they do now? All right, so what do you guys think? There's your story, there's your case. How do you handle that? Except for Matt, who knows. Everybody else, if you want to drop in the chat, what advice would you give to this notary if they called you and said, hey, this is what happened to some people, and I'm not sure how to advise them what to do?
We getting some responses in there? Are we
All right,
thinking about it?
get it notarized.
Tabitha says get it notarized.
Anybody else? Okay. Yeah, so what I want to point out is there's several, this is a compound answer. Of course, most immediately, they could just go to a notary with that one document, get it signed and renotarized. And I say signed because it was a jurat. So they're gonna have to sign again, redate it for the date that they're filling out the certificate. So that makes it compliant on my end, the notary end. But does that make it acceptable for use public facing, whoever, you know, like at a loan signing, and they say, oh yeah, here's my certificate of trust that shows I have a trust that you can rely upon for this refinance. And yet they see, well, gosh, this was signed 12 years later from the date of the creation of the trust. Is that going to create a problem? I don't know, because I'm not title or escrow. I don't know those laws. That's not my job. So maybe it's not an issue at all, but maybe it's not. And they wouldn't know if it was or wasn't until they got into that situation. So what else might we be thinking about to help with in this situation. Of course, one of those might be, you know, I could notarize it for you now and it would be effective. Your trust itself, the trust document is effective. Remember, the certification of trust is just the highlights. It's just an additional document that says, here, let me give you the highlights of what their trust says, and you can use that to refinance, sell, buy, whatever it is you're going to do. So it isn't the trust itself. So their trust is valid. So it shouldn't cause any problems. But again, I'm not an attorney, so I don't know that. So I might advise them. This is the one advice you can always give, which is see an attorney. You might want to go back to the either original attorney or another one and verify that having this discrepancy isn't going to create any issues, number one. Number two, this might be a good idea anyways. This is a 12-year-old. And if they haven't made any changes or done anything, trust laws change. There may be something that's not up to date with their trust. Their life has changed. Maybe they have kids or grandkids or other situations now that weren't in place then. So there's a lot of good reasons for them to check this out further with some a legal person who can do that. So that would be both of my answers would be, here's how I can take care of it, but here is what I suggest you follow up with to make sure you don't have any other issues later. And thank the universe that they were both competent and alive. Is all I can say. Okay,
Mhm.
there you go for today.
Thank you, Laura. Great lesson for today. We have some hands up, and the first one is Rose Farmer Hartman. Rose, tell us where you're calling from.
New Jersey.
How you doing, Rose? What can we answer for you today?
I got an interesting text message from the Snapdocs over the week, last week,
Okay.
and it was two towns over, and the pay was $275. It says 8-hour day witness opening of safe deposit boxes. Now,
Mhm.
I think I received one once before, but it was for a much smaller amount, and it was just a 1-hour one, but I couldn't do it. But I don't know if anybody's ever seen these or have experience with an 8-hour witness of opening safety deposit boxes at that price.
If you
Yeah.
have done these, drop a 2 in the chat so Rose can see. Yes, these are common. I don't know what the going rate though is, Laura. Go ahead and.
Well, I don't know what the going rate is, but what I can tell you is they're paying you to sit there for up to 8 hours to witness them opening safe deposit boxes that are no longer in force, meaning nobody's paying the bill anymore. And they're going to be inventorying them and pulling them out so they can reuse those boxes for something else. And then they're required to notify whoever the registered owner is. There's a process for that. And they're not allowed to use an inside notary. They must use an outside notary for that process. We can do it in
Okay.
California as well.
Does that answer your question, Rose?
Yeah, I was just very surprised at that price. It's $275 for 8-hour, and it came from Snaptop, so I know it wasn't like a con or anything. It was just surprising to see something like that because
Yeah,
I've never
and
seen
it might not take them 8 hours. They're guessing. They obviously have quite a few, and they're taking a stab at how long they think it's going to take. I would assume it's up to 8 hours. They're not going to make you sit there for 2 hours when there's no more boxes to do.
What is
Okay.
that? What is
Thank you.
275 divided? But hey, that's $34.38 an hour. That's not a bad deal.
Yeah, well, I missed it because I didn't pay attention to the date, but when I did respond, they said if something happens, because it's for November 19th, that if the person fails through, that I would be the next person in line
Oh,
to take the
good.
job.
Right.
Good.
I love some of the comments you might want to check. You know, one is sometimes they go through this and the boxes are empty.
Mhm.
That is hysterical. And a lot of times, because they took a guess at the time frame, they're paying you a flat fee and they get done sooner than what they estimated. But you do have to book out that time, meaning you can't accept any other appointments during that time until you leave.
Does that answer your question, Rose? Oh, she
Yes,
lowered
it
her
does.
hand.
Yes,
Awesome.
yes, it does. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it.
You're so welcome. Thank you. And Dan, I'm going to get to your question here in just a moment. I just wanted to remind everybody, and I know well, hold on, let me start over. I want to remind everybody that this is the season where we are voting as a community of notaries for the National Notary Association's Influencer of the Year award. There's 3 amazing people that are up for Influencer of the Year, and this is social media influencer of the year. There's Ronnie Mickle with Notary Stars. There's Amber Gist with the Notary Academy, and Bill Soroka, the Notary Coach. I just want to remind you guys that you are welcome to vote whether you are a member of the National Notary Association or not, because these 3 notaries, all of them have likely had some influence on you in your notary career. You are allowed per the NNA to vote for whoever you want, but only one email address at a time. And they have approved, if you have more than one email address and you feel so inclined and you want to vote like for Amber Gist with the Notary Academy more than once with several different email addresses, you are allowed to do that. So we encourage you to please go and vote for the person who has helped influence your career as a notary public. And the link is in the chat. Thank you so much. All right, Dan, what is your question for us? Dan's calling from Chicago, Illinois.
Well, first of all, I thought that you could only vote 2 or 3 times if you lived in the city of Chicago. That's a normal thing. My question is, I was watching a video last week about the My Life and Wishes. And I was wondering, and I didn't really quite understand what the features and benefits for me, for the attorney, and the client are. And I was wondering if you could maybe go over that a little bit.
No, I
Okay.
cannot, but maybe Jen can.
You know, honestly, Dan, I would direct you to the website, My Life and Wishes. And because you're a notary business builder, I would also direct you, which is coming up this week, John Braddock hosts a My Life and Wishes call. He's the expert there.
Right.
What I can tell you, it's a great vault. It's a great space for you to keep all of your end of life and legacy planning documents in one safe military grade vault. And you can even leave videos for your children or future grandchildren. You can leave your passwords, your banking information, all the stuff that your family will need to manage the business of your death when you are gone, and they can manage it there all in one place. But check your Notary Business Builder event calendar in your dashboard. There is a call coming up with John Braddock this week. Somebody help me out. What's it called? Is it Momentum
Is that the
Call?
momentum call?
Momentum Call, the Momentum Call. He's also going to help teach you how to market My Life and Wishes to attorneys in your area as well.
I don't see it on the calendar.
I'll tell you what, because I can't publish the calendar link, it's private. If you will shoot me a quick email, Dan, I'll be happy to send that to you.
Okay,
The
sounds good. Thank you very
the
much.
momentum call does not go on the calendar.
Oh, the Momentum Call doesn't go on the calendar?
No, because that's it's the CNTDA thing, not an NBB thing.
Gotcha. Dan, do you have but Trisha, does a reminder go out?
Yes, email and social media.
And when is the call this week?
It's Thursday at, I believe, 1 o'clock.
That's Pacific time. So that would be 3 o'clock your time, Dan.
Okay, I'll send
Be
you
on the
the link.
Yeah,
Thanks.
be on the lookout for that. That's a CNTDA product. So I just can't put the calendar link in there since it's a NBB. So, and Trisha said it's not even on there. So be on the lookout for that email, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You got it. Asia Walton, tell us what your question is today.
Good morning, well, good afternoon.
I know. What time is it?
It's a long day today. Okay, so speaking of we're speaking about trust and all that good stuff. You know how on the loan packages, sometimes the property is in a trust and the verbiage is so long. Usually in the beginning, when I started my notary career, I was having the signers put everything in that verbiage on the line until I saw one particular packet that just said, just put trustee, comma trustee. What is good practice to do in the future if I see trust and a lot of verbiage on that line and not a lot of space?
Yeah, never go below the black printed line with the signature. Everything needs to be above that line. And the second bit of advice I have for you, Asia, is follow the instructions. If
Okay.
there aren't instructions, you call the title office and you find out what they want, because 9 times out of 10, if they forget to put that in there, and they sometimes will, you know, some lenders accept comma trustee. Some lenders expect the whole thing to be written.
Okay.
Just never go below the black line, the black signature
Okay.
line with any of the names or the words. Everything has to be above. And I find it to be a bit helpful if the lender does require you to write out all of the trustee language, that you make a little table tent out of a piece of paper
Mhm.
and you write it out for them so they can see it. It will help with any mistakes that might happen if they're able to see it, because it's such an unusual way to sign your name.
Okay. Makes sense. Thank
Laura,
you.
do you have any additional?
The only thing I want to say is when we're handling trust assignments, they're not using capacity yet. They're
This
creating
is for a loan
trust.
package.
Right, no, but I'm saying, as people are listening to this, I want you to know that her question doesn't apply to trust
Yeah.
signings. We're talking about loan signings, or something to do with their signing incapacity at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Does that answer your question, Asia? Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, Lynn from California. Hi, what's your question for us?
Hello.
Hi.
I wanted to do a follow-up question about the safety deposit box.
Okay.
I'd never heard of that. So what is it you do all day? You're not gonna attest that they wrote everything down in the inventory, or I mean, what is it you're required to do as a notary?
You're required to sit there and watch them open the box, pull anything in there out of there. They will be doing the inventorying, writing it all down. They will sign, and that's the bank official, whoever that is, will sign for that inventory, and it's their signature that you would notarize.
Okay, and then so
For
just
each box,
for each box.
for each box.
Oh, and so you just add a loose certificate to each box.
Usually there's something already on that inventory form. I've seen the form like from Bank of America, and it's
Uh-huh.
already at the bottom set up for this purpose, specifically.
And if
you
it's in
have to-
California, it's gonna have the California verbiage for the notarization?
It's actually not an acknowledgement, so
Yeah,
it's,
it'd be a jurat.
well, it's not a, I don't know, it's not even a jurat.
Oh, they're not even
No.
It's
swearing.
very, I believe it's very specific wording for the inventory of boxes, and it's one of those buried laws that you won't see in your handbook. You have to dig deep
Right.
in order to
Right.
find that procedure. Call the hotline, they can do a better job of telling you how to find that particular procedure and what that wording is, but it's not an acknowledgement or jurat.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay.
Matt, did you have something you?
I believe it's an oath.
Yeah, it could be just an oath, which means, let's just take a moment to have an opportunity to learn something. An oath does not have mandated language of any kind, meaning under oath, they can say anything. So you might put them under oath and that's your notarial act, but the wording does not have to comply with anything in particular. It's going to say that this person inventoried this box on this date and you were there, and whatever it says.
Thank you for that question. All right, David, tell us where you're calling from and what your question is.
Sure. I'm calling from Central Florida,
Okay.
and I had one question, but and we've got a lot of subjects coming up today, so I just wanted to
Yeah.
address also trust verbiage, just long verbiage on lines. I have found it best with my signers to ensure that they keep everything above the line to write out the bottom line first. That it's actually
Yeah.
it goes below what's on top. But if they write out that first that second line first, then they can sign above
Back on
that, and that
top.
usually works better for their brains because it's a lot to process going all the way across. And if they're doing that repeatedly, it's a little bit easier. I found my signings more smooth when we do it that way. Now, I don't know if
Gonna
this
be
particular
quiet.
question is out of turn or anything, but I keep seeing cannabis references in
Mhm.
various places, and I've kind of tried to do a little research. I haven't really seen anything. I even walked into a cannabis place to ask if they needed my help, and they didn't know what I was talking about. So, is that something you guys can address?
Yeah,
Sure. Yeah.
absolutely.
Where do you
So,
want me to?
we can both go. We created a course, Bill Soroka, Laura, myself, David, we created a free course called the Cannabis Friendly Notary. Now, our intention, right, when we started was to help notaries understand the types of compliance documents that dispensaries may need help with. But here's the thing, every state, every county, every city, every district is different. And so some require notarization, some don't. It just became this big giant animal to figure out what was needed and what wasn't. What we realized though, and going through all of the research we went through, was there is an entire community out there of cannabis users who are still being judged for using cannabis, whether it's medicinally or recreationally. And so we created the free certification so that you could, if it is required in your state, help dispensaries with compliance documents. If you don't have that, or your state, county, city doesn't have that, David, you can take the free training to be a cannabis friendly notary, meaning don't judge when you go to someone's house because you see paraphernalia or their home smells a certain way. It's a way for that entire community that might be really nervous about having what could be perceived as a government official, like a notary public, over to their home when it might smell like marijuana. And so it's just a way for you to say to your public, where it is medically legal in the state of Florida, to say, hey, if you are a cannabis user, they need things notarized as well, just like anybody else that takes any other kind of medication. And so it's a way for you to say that you are not judgmental to that community. Laura, do you have anything that you want to add to that while I put in the free training here?
Yeah, David, I think Florida has a proposition on the ballot to go from medical to also adult use or recreational use.
I believe you're right.
So that will open it even further. Not that anybody's waiting for that, but just so you know, I think there's expansion going on there. And I think that probably the biggest part is that we wanted to bust some of the stereotypes that were out there, and what people thought were stoners, everybody's token, and that's not what cannabis is about today, particularly in the medical use. But even for the reason using it, I mean, we've got gummies, we've got drinks, we've got all kinds of forms, and you would never know if somebody was using it, because you may not see the paraphernalia that we would think of, to tip us off. The other thing is that this was not meant to add to anybody's resume for loan signing work. They're not interested. Do not be saying, oh, and my qualifications include I'm a cannabis friendly notary. Probably not going to be well received. for escrow companies and title companies and Snapdocs and those places. It was really more that industry and or the public.
Okay.
Okay.
And David,
Perfect.
once your state, if it does adopt
Yeah.
recreational, you might want to check back with those dispensaries to see, because that's going to change some of their qualifications, yearly qualifications for compliance documents. And don't forget, guys, generally speaking, and again, every state and district is different. Generally speaking, people that work in a dispensary require fingerprinting. So it's a wonderful opportunity for the fingerprinting notary as well, to make friendly with your notaries. And I saw somebody put in the chat box that in the state of Illinois, they're starting to require notaries that work or require people that work at the dispensaries to get their notary stamp. Doesn't mean you can't still help them, right? It doesn't mean that you can't still be a preferred notary. So in all the same ways we advise how to respond to that, oh, well, I already have a notary on staff, or any other thing like trust, loan signings, or anything else. You can always be a backup notary. So thank you for bringing that up. And the link is in the chat for you if you're interested. The training is free, you guys. And you're welcome to, you're all welcome to check into it. Let me put it in here one more time. Free cannabis certification. Thanks for bringing that up, David. Did that answer your
Awesome.
question?
Rather thoroughly. Thank you.
We're a little passionate about it since we put it together, you know? Thank you so much. Dana, tell us where you are calling from. Dana, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. How you doing?
Good. How are you today?
How you doing? I'm a notary in Florida. Thank you guys for
Awesome.
this. Quick question I have about the fingerprinting. I'm still trying to find like a secure. I signed up for the cannabis friendly thing, and I'm almost finished with that. Thank you guys for offering that. Also, the fingerprinting, because I was trying to work towards the live scan. Of course, I've heard a lot of different mixed opinions about it. So I even thought about, okay, let's just go ahead and add the cards, right? So I'm looking for the most accurate. If you guys could help me with that.
The most accurate what?
Most accurate what?
Like, say if I need a certification for it, because I did do my background check and was approved for the live scan, and then when I went to get the information, somehow they lost my the background check, so I did it again last year. But now I wanted to, instead of doing live scan, do the fingerprinting the cards. So I just wanted to know, like, wanted some insight on, do you guys have like a recommended website or educator for that? Do we need a certificate for that? Is there anything else that we would need other than, because I'm already a notary and I'm a remote online notary, all that. I just wanted to know, was there anything other specific that I would need?
Well, since I don't do the fingerprinting business myself, although Jeff Clark does, and he does other states. And what's important is not all states, the business opportunity is the same. Some are what they call closed states, some are open. I don't know what yours is.
Florida is open. Yeah.
It's open. Okay.
Yeah.
So then you've got good opportunity. But have you heard of Jeff Clark?
Never heard of him, but I will look it up.
So Jeff Clark is in California.
Okay.
And he does he not only is a fingerprint technician, but he does have a class as well. So you might have a conversation with him about what you should be doing.
Yeah, because I remember years ago when I was a notary for the big major health system here, I was their corporate notary, and I didn't have to have anything extra, but now things are different, a little bit different. So I just wanted to make sure I didn't need something extra to be able to do the fingerprintings, because that's something I get asked a lot for.
Right. He seems to know a lot, not just about California where he is, but about other states as well. That's why.
Great.
suggesting him, and Jen put the, that's a spotlight for Jeff.
So yeah, so Dana,
Okay,
in the
thank
chat,
you.
yeah, I've got his course that's on the chat. He has a fingerprinting 101 course. It has his contact information if you want to reach out to him.
Right, and that's what
Thank
I would
you.
do. I wouldn't just take the course. I would talk to him first, so, because you're not in California, to see what he recommends.
Great. And
Okay.
then, okay, thank you guys so much. That is awesome.
You're welcome. Does that
Yeah,
answer your
because
question?
I was told two things. I did like a class one time, and then they were like, oh, you know, you have to do this. So I did all the steps. I went through the Identigo, did the whatever, the background. But then, of course, you know, when you do remote online, you still get to have to do the background. I did all of that stuff. And then another one, I did some education. I was like, no, you don't need that in Florida. I'm like, so, okay, I just want to know. Thank you so much.
You got
And
it.
just so people know, you don't have to be a notary to be a fingerprinter. It's its own line of
Right.
revenue. I mean, it's nice that you already have both of those, but just for people to not think, hey, I have to become a notary before I can do this. No,
Right.
that's not
And
so.
then I was interested about and I think I will take one of you guys a class. No, I think one of you guys offer, and I was listening in about the trust
Mhm.
courier, was it?
It's the certified certified notary trust delivery agent. What a mouthful. That's why we say CNTDA.
Right.
And yes, you'll find that on the Notary Coach website. You can get
Yes,
information
I
about
did.
that.
Yeah.
Go ahead and go there, and it should tell you everything you need to know.
Okay, thank you. Because I offered like the notary courier
Okay.
services and all those types of things.
Yeah.
So I'm just making sure I have all my P's and
Hit
T's.
all the
Thank you very
boxes.
much.
You got it, Dana. And you know what? Dana brings up a point. I want to, because I've had this question a couple of times over the last few weeks. I want to reiterate this. You know, we realize there's all kinds of different training platforms out there, you guys. We know that there's all kinds of trainers, all kinds of influencers. No lack of that in the notary space. If you're ever wondering about a program, please feel free to bring that here and we will be happy to answer your question about it. I get it. Sometimes you just want somebody to tell you, is this worth it or not? And we'll be happy to help answer that question if you ever need to bring a training platform up and ask that question. All right, guys, we've got a few more minutes left. I would love for you to raise your hands, so we can answer a couple of more questions. So while we are waiting for that, Laura, I would love for you to also tell everybody how they can connect with you outside of this call.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you. A couple ways. One is you can attend my Laura's Inner Circle. That's 8 a.m. on Saturday mornings. It's similar, but not exactly the same as this one, where I do answer questions. I tend to go in a lot more depth. We set an intention for that call. And if you want to go to that, you can just go to coachmelaura.com and sign up at Laura's Inner Circle. It's always free. The other way is I do offer a free strategy call where, hey, I want to do something. I want to start a new line of business. I just became a notary and I need to know next steps. If you want to meet with me on that, I have a calendar. You can book a 15-minute strategy call. That's at calendly.com/ my last name, Biewer, Biewer. And then we can talk about what direction you're trying to go. I do want you to know this is not a hotline booking. Please don't book me and then ask me, can I do this? You want to do that, come to my Coach Me Laura, and I'm happy to answer those kinds of questions. Just know that it's not real time. Real time is called hotline through the NNA. That's real time questions. But if you want to learn something from it later, beautiful. And then, of course, if you want to actually strategize about your business, there's the other one. Thanks, Jen.
You got it, Laura. And I put all of that in the chat. I also put my coaching link on there for you guys as well. Laura does a 15-minute strategy call. I do 30 or 25-minute coaching calls. And it's for anybody. You don't have to be a member of Marketing for Notaries or Notary Business Builder or anything like that. I'm happy to work with you to
Jen,
work out your.
would you describe your coaching call? Because it's very different than mine. I'm meeting with them for 15 minutes and saying, here's a path, go. And
Yeah.
that's all I do. Yours is a little more in depth.
Mine is a little more in depth. Mine is a little more business-based coaching. So we are going to talk about where you are, where you want to go, and the steps that you need to get there. And generally speaking, it doesn't happen in just one session. If you want to just book a session with me and see what kind of plan we can put together to help you get where you want to go, that's great. The meat is in the repetition. It's almost like going to therapy, but for your business. I help hold you accountable. I help give you tools to keep you from feeling overwhelmed, because I know that as a business owner, whether you're a notary or a baker or an insurance salesman, overwhelm for an entrepreneur is a real thing. So we talk about ways to use that to your advantage to help propel you to your goals. It's a great way for you guys to set up something step by step by step to achieve your dreams, what it is you're looking for, and to be held accountable to that. And I've been doing it for years in the notary business community, notary business builder community, and I'm excited to bring it out to everybody now that I have, a lot more experience with it. So it's really one of my favorite things.
And that's one-on-one, guys. So that's really,
one-on-one.
there's only so much we can do in a group call, but to have 25 minutes of the expert's time just for your situation, I think is really valuable for us, whether it's a one-time check it out or you do a series of them when you get serious about, moving your business forward.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thanks, Laura.
Mhm.
Gina has a question for us. It looks like she's calling from Chicago. Gina, what is your question?
Good afternoon. I know I came in late and I heard you say that if we had a question about another platform, we can ask.
Mhm.
Has anyone heard of Notary to Notary?
Yeah, that's run by Vanessa Terry. She's great. I think her training is mostly loan signings. Is that correct, Matt and Laura?
I believe that's what it is, but I'm sure she has it listed on her website.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she does a lot of general work.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of the general work now, and then, she goes into other things, but her program is like, almost $3,000. And I mean, I was just wondering if anyone, had any experience with her.
Yeah, if anybody has worked with Vanessa Terry at Notary to Notary, please feel free to drop a message for Gina in the chat. Gina, people price things all different ways for a multitude of different reasons. But I can tell you, she's a very reputable notary trainer. She has a great reputation. She works with the National Notary Association. She's been around for, gosh, how long has she been around for, you guys?
A few years.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a minute, but she's been here for a few years.
Yeah. And she has her hands on all different kinds of things. But yeah, if you guys have worked with Vanessa Terry at Notary to Notary, please let Gina know in the chat.
Thank you.
You got it. You got it. Thanks for asking that, Gina. And our last call today is going to be from my friend Celicia in Jacksonville, Florida. Hey, girl. Hey, what's up?
Hey, everybody. I just found another free place to list your stuff. It's called cityof.com. Now, it doesn't have every city, but cityof.com. There you go. That's my little tip for the day.
I just put it in the chat. Thank you. So this is just a directory, a city directory?
Just another directory, another way to put your stuff out there to get those links.
Another great way to help grow your SEO is to get on all the different directories. All right, guys. Laura, do you have any last minute comments today before we close out?
I just want to tell you how appreciative that I am. We were up around 120 something people who carve out a piece of the middle of their day to come here and learn something more, to build their skill or their knowledge, their understanding of how the marketplace works. and learn from other people's mistakes and other people's questions. So thank you so much for continuing to do that with us. So appreciate it.
Matt, do you want to close us out today?
Sure. Thanks everyone for stopping by. Thanks for all the participants with your wonderful questions, and to our fellow co-hosts, Jen and Laura. We look forward to seeing you again right here on the same channel next week, same time, same place.
Awesome. And Matt, we will see you on Thursday at your California League of Independent Notaries Roundtable. I hope to see all of you guys there. Have a great week.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.